Just part of you.
It's okay, you're fine. Okay, so it's lab 7. Today we are I'm gonna demonstrate some gait techniques. We've done a lot in terms of sit to stand techniques, trunk control techniques, balance techniques. So I'm gonna give you a chance to practice all of that. So first I'm gonna demonstrate the gait techniques, and then you guys can practice and finish up your lab from last week. I also have the light gait out, and I found out, Adam and Rob, it's 260. Somebody was right, so you guys can use it. I want everybody to try the light gait today. And as time allows, we have the Biodex manual, and when Dean Simus arrives, one of us can go over there, because next week you'll have your community consultant, your BMW client, so you can practice, actually do these things with them, okay? All right, so I'm going to get started demonstrating some gait techniques. So John, come up. All right, this is actually in your Car and Shepherd book, but looking at, come on over here, practicing with your patient lots of weight shift. Controlled weight shifts is a really good thing to do. Now, Car and Shepherd set it up like you would be, so say you want them, everybody needs to shift their weight before they take a step, right? And so for a lot of our clients, they tend to overshift, okay? So what Car and Shepherd suggests is that you put your hands out as far as giving them some biofeedback, okay? This is also a technique we use a lot in the BOBAT method, in NDT, to just kind of help the patient to get the feel of what a normal weight shift is. So before you have them start the gait pattern, just working on having them experience normal side-to-side weight shift, okay, medial lateral weight shift. Okay, so go ahead and take a step, John. And then you'd want to practice the anterior-posterior weight shift, so bringing the patient forward on their front leg and back on their back leg. I would typically start out giving them some cues with my hands, okay? And as the patient got the idea of it, then I could, provide less support, and then just visually maybe give them some cues, have them get the feel of it themselves, so they know what a normal weight shift is, and then have them practice that. And I may do that a number of times, so I'd have them, okay, go ahead and shift back, shift forward, shift back, okay, now take a step. And I want to make sure I do it on both legs as well, okay? So shifting forward and shifting back. Okay, good, thanks. So that's what's meant for controlling weight shift laterally and controlling weight shift anterior posteriorly. I think last week we talked with sit to stand about using the pressure of the clavicles as a key point of control to get upright stance. So if somebody else want to come up and be my subject for demonstration? Thank you, Jade. Okay, so the same idea, you have the patient that maybe is too far forward, so you could use this as a way to get them more upright, okay? You can also provide them, and Jay, just be real careful with our floor that you don't put the dents in. Thank you, Liz, for loaning me your ski poles. This is very trendy. In Europe, they use ski poles with bottoms on them, not sharp bottoms, but more solid bottoms instead of canes, because they look cooler than walking around with canes. But anyway, using ski poles is a good way. Just, these are a little bit longer than a typical cane, and so it brings them up into this position. So you can also use the ski poles to get some reciprocal gait, so get some trunk rotation. So go ahead and bring the left pole forward, take a step with your right foot, then left foot, okay. Yep, you got it. Okay, so that idea. All right. And I'll switch those out for some canes. And try another idea to help them with reciprocal gait. So go ahead and hold on to both handles. Okay, so I'm going to bring her leg forward this way, and that way to try to get her in a more reciprocal fashion. So you probably, at first, need to have a second person to help give the person cues, okay? But you can use the canes very nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to bring, there you go. To try to get some increased trunk rotation. Okay, so all these techniques, they probably look simple, but go ahead and make sure you try them on your partner, okay? We use the same partners as we did last week, just because you want to finish up the assignment from last week. Okay, so what else? Downward pressure through the hip. So this is a technique for stance. Come on back. Thanks, Jade. Okay, So this is like terminal stance, and I want to increase the push-up. So go ahead and take a step with your right leg, there you go. Okay, so I can push down, it's kind of like a quick stretch, okay, you ready? And step, and step, and step, and step. Okay, so that was a little overdone, right? Try that a little smoother. Okay, go ahead and take a step. Okay, and come forward over that leg, and step, and step, and step. Okay, so that's a little better, not so wild, not doing it too much. Okay, and we talked about previously for balance, but also in terms of gait. If you had a person that had maybe difficulty initiating the step, you could have them take some steps up on a small bench to start with. That would be an exercise that would precede your gait training. All right. And we talked about last week as far as moving sit to stand, using a towel. It doesn't work too well on this floor, but it works well on other floors. Use the towel to slide the foot back. You can do the same thing to try to get the person the idea of getting their leg in extension in terminal stance. That's a tough thing, as we've said, for a lot of people with neurological problems. So getting their leg back in terminal stance is a good idea. Okay, and then I have one other technique to show you, using an ACE wrap to help to put the person in a better foot position. And maybe, I think we'll go ahead and practice some of these techniques, and then I'll bring you back and show you this as well. Okay, so today you're going to be in your groups that you were last week. You need to finish up your lab assignment that you started. It's due by tomorrow at noon. And practice these techniques, practice the trunk techniques that I've demonstrated, sit to stand techniques. Also make sure everybody gets on the light gate, and as time allows, we'll go use the Biodex.